me crazy. Be my sweetness, my completeness. Be my lover, there's no other.
And so you will be taking the lead for this panel, and the conversation on that panel would be Barrier by Design, Unpacking the Invincible Wall in Funding, Leadership, and Access to Investments. As well as merging that, because of time, we'll be merging that panel with the panel for header as well, which is panel 5, Connect to Scale Global Vision, Local Roots, a showcase of Manchester-based Black women-led businesses ready for investment, partnership, and global storytelling. So if you would like to join me on stage, Carol. It's always good to have you on stage. And I would like to call on stage as well Heather from the GM Business Growth Hub. Heather is another fantastic person. I met her about 2-3 weeks ago. And I'm already, motivated by the amount of things she does, the impact she drives in the community, and I'm looking to steal some useful tips from her, very, very important tips. She's one to connect with. And on that same panel, I would like to welcome Bimbo Pomile. Bimbo is a pastor at Audacious and as well as a female leader who helped young business leaders to grow, to flourish, and to create that space where they can express themselves. So thank you for joining us, Bimbo. And we have somebody who's going to be joining us virtual. Before we come to that, I would like to bring on stage as well. One second. So I'd like to bring us on stage as well would be Veronica Owusu. Please. And finally, I would like to bring our virtual panel who will be joining us virtually. And her name is, she's a lady I've actually been working with for quite a while now. I've been working with Genevieve for about 3 years now that I've known her. She does a whole lot of community development work across Haiti. She does a lot of work and has done works with the United Nations. And she's one to always connect with, especially when you're talking about food security, talking about scaling globally, and the whole agricultural ecosystem. She is a heavyweight in that space, and she is very, very blockchain-centric as well. So I would like to welcome Genevieve Livermore. Good to see you, Genevieve.
Genevieve.
Yeah, I think that's the French one. Sorry about that. I know that's French. You always correct me on that one, but my French is so bad. Pardon me. But it's always good to have you join us.
Yeah, so I'm not even pushing you to the French way.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. And I would like to hand over to Carol.
Hello. We got. Welcome, Genevieve. Where are you? Haiti? Genevieve?
No, I'm in New York.
Where are you?
In New York.
In New York. Well, welcome. Welcome. I hope you can hear us all okay. Yeah? Right. Hi, everybody. So just an introduction from me and who I am. I'm Carol Ann Whitehead. I am co-founder of the Zebra Partnership, which is, if you think of three Venn diagrams, it's publishing, events, and campaigns. The roots of the company is in publishing and editorial. 2025 means that the agency is 25 years old. Wow. We have published our own books across the spectrum. We have white labelled for many people in the city, many people out of the city. I've been publishing advisor to our very own Chancellor of the University of Manchester, which is Nazir Afzal. There's a book that I've published advised that I recommend that you get. It's called The Race to the Top. A very annoyed and upset Nizir Afzal came to me in 2021 and he said, have you seen the FTSE 100? Have you seen the FTSE 350? There are no black and brown CEOs, CFOs in there. It's a scandal. And I went, you're a former public prosecutor. It's not your lane. It's not your lane. He went, hang on. And he went off and wrote a format for the race to the top. I got in one of my team to support on the editorial side of things. I was special advisor, and we had 3 more in the team. And the result was a HarperCollins book called The Race to the Top, where we interviewed key people who were black and brown on their journey at becoming CEOs and CFOs in their given companies. Some are anonymous for obvious reasons, and some are not. I suggest you look it up and you get it. There are 3 key interviews that I've done in there, as well as being special advisor. So, yeah, please do that. And that book came out in 2022. It's still relevant. The dial and the needle has moved only slightly, but it's moved positively. Wow. Okay, so that's a bit of reading for you. And I move slightly comfortably onto the fact that I'm also Heritage Operations and Chief of Staff of the Portico Library and Newsroom. I'm the first black chair for their Public Programme Committee in 219 years. And my modus operandi is to weave us into the library history, interviewing lots of individuals, not only authors from Manchester, but authors around the country and around the world. And I take a book from them, get it signed, and it's part of the archive, working with the Chinese community and also all other different communities as well. Just basically looking at the spectrum of the community in Greater Manchester and making sure it is recognised and it's part of the history and heritage going forward. And I'm a queen maker. I love my women and I love my women of colour. And I've been queen making for some time. I do a lot with Parliament. I'm a trustee of 50/50 Parliament. I stood up in Parliament and said we need more women of colour. And we need more northern women of colour. Talk about slicing the pie thin. But at the end of the day, we needed to empower women of colour. Because the thing is that I don't know about you. It doesn't happen to Sharon, but it happens to me. When I go to London, I get really northern and I start talking like this, only because I want to make sure that people know that I'm from the north. And Sir Lindsay Hoyle, Speaker of the House, said, if anyone can do it, you can do it, Caroline. Go on, come back to me for a quote and I'll put it in the funding document. And that's what he did. And he endorsed my Amplifying Muted Voices campaign. And I've got several women in the pipeline looking to be in the halls of Westminster for 2027, 2028. So, my panel. My partner in crime, my Virgo partner in crime. I've known Heather for quite some time. Heather, please do introduce yourself and then pass on.
Will do. Thank you. Imposter syndrome kicking in at this moment in time. So I haven't got a career anything like Carol Ann's. So I'm Heather Waters. I work now for the Greater Manchester Growth Hub and I lead on the access to finance. I joined them 7 months ago. Prior to that, I worked for NatWest and I worked primarily in enterprise, helping people in the business community. But I worked, first of all, on the Rose Review, which was launched in 2019 as part of the Women in Business team at the time, and that was looking at the barriers for female entrepreneurs. And funding was recognised as the key barrier, and it was more about accessing the support to get funding, not the funding itself. You talk about needles moving. I think the needle since 2019 to now has moved a little bit. An awful lot of work has been done about creating more opportunities for women to get investment, because obviously we're talking about women in tech today. That is something that an awful lot will look to get investment in their businesses. So I think British Business Bank reported only a few days ago, because it's the Women Investing Code, that actually 26% of the investment that actually went out over the last 12 months went to all-female teams, and that's up from 19% from 2019. So it's moving in the right direction. Not fast enough, but we're getting there. The other piece of work I've done, and Annette's gone now, hasn't she? But I met Annette a couple of years ago because I worked on a report that NatWest, my previous employer, funded through CREM, which is the Centre for Research for Ethnic Minority Entrepreneurs. That's why we call it CREM. It's a bit of a long one. But they did a report called Time to Change, and that was actually looking at the kind of recommendations rather than barriers, actually how we could work more with ethnic minority entrepreneurs. And it was quite interesting. A few of the barriers that were perceived in the Rose Review are actually very similar in the Time to Change report. And I was gutted because Professor Van der Ram was here a couple of weeks ago at your event and goes in. I was in Leeds doing climb, so I couldn't actually be there at the time. He's a chap behind the report, an amazing guy. So I'm really keen to look and see how that report's moved forward and any kind of barriers that have been broken down, any gains have come from that. But thank you, and I'll hand over.
Wow. How do I match that? Like you said earlier. So basically, my name is Bimbo Pomile, and I'm a project manager, but tech project management. But I started out my career as a salesperson, and then I transitioned into tech project management because of exactly what we are talking about, the barriers. And at that time, I was doing sales. I've been doing sales for years, and then I didn't see future in it because if you understand sales, the more you do, you don't get promoted because you have to make the numbers for your bosses. And then I'm like, what else can I do? And then I moved into tech, thinking that, oh, it's the best. But then you meet those barriers again because you're in a community where it's majorly men, and you don't even have a voice, even though they call it agile, but it's actually not agile, if you know what agile means. So basically, last year, I started having burnout to the point where I began to question who I am, if my abilities, and at the point I resigned, and they called me back. So I work with MTN South Africa. They called me back, but then so I'm saying that because it's going to lead me to what I do, basically. So they called me back, and then I realized that the work was actually affecting my mental health. And I started making research on how, because I didn't see it as a thing. I thought that it was just natural for you to have mental health. We don't even call it mental health from where we're coming from. We call it more hard work. You call it hard work and then more work, but then it's telling on your mental health. But you feel like if you do more, you get promoted for doing more. But it is affecting your mental well-being, and it begins to affect the family, begins to affect the way you see your children, how you embrace your children and all of that. So I wrote a book on that, and I called it the Agile Employee. And it says, the Agile Employee, how to thrive in your career without sacrificing your mental health. That's what the book is about. So when we're talking about book, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's it. That's my gift. That's my connect. So I wrote that. And while doing project management, I realized that there are so many people as well that wants to transition. So I started out a business called Make Careers, where I train people on how to transition from nothing to being a technical project manager or being a business analyst. So I started doing that. I started with training people, doing that as a freebie, because I believe that some people want to do that, but then the barrier is funding, like I said, like you said rather. So the barrier is funding. So I started training people, giving them what I already have. And then I still do that till now. But then I looked at it, and there was this day, I'm going to the next thing that I do. So there was this day I was trying to wash my clothes, and then my kids, I have 2 boys, 4 and 6. They came and they said that, oh, Mom, can I put the soap in the dish, in the washing machine? The other said, can I add fragrance? And at the point they started fighting. I'm like, oh, this is actually project management, because they're doing conflict resolution. They settled their fight and all of that. I'm like, oh, our kids have potential for project management, and that is exactly the project I'm working on now. Junior project managers for kids and teens. So I've written a book. Yeah. Yeah. So I just released a book presently, July 7th, for kids. So I'm targeting 10 to 16 age. to see how we can utilize the innate abilities they have. So the problem is we don't call it a name, but there is actually a name for it. Even though when they fight, when they argue, when they say, "Mom, this is exactly what I want," they are putting their foot on the ground, say, "This is what I want." These are potential that we also exhibit as adults. These kids already have it. Let's just call it a name. I will call it junior project managers. Thank you. These are the things.
When's is it finished? Have you finished the book?
And then I represent the African community of Odysseus Church.
I can see the church.
Yeah. So
No, I was asking about the book.
the book is finished now.
It's finished.
So I've done the one for 10 to 11. It's a book and it has a workbook as well. So one of the things that my team is working on now is we are working on a project management club for kids. So that's a project we're working
You and I are going to talk. I love shaping your minds. I love shaping your
Thank you.
minds.
Yeah, thank you. That's
Okay, before we go to Veronica, love you, Veronica. Hang
No
on.
worries.
Yeah. I want to go to New York. Can we hear from you, Genevieve, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. It's Jean-Pierre.
Jean-Pierre. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Jean-Pierre.
Okay. So actually, I come from a banking background, and in corporate banking, in the bank, and Packard and General Electric previously. So that actually led me to doing the implementation of complex systems for the organization, and that is how I ended up in what's called blockchain technology. So I use not crypto, but actually blockchain. And I heard about this thing and I said, wow, this is really going to be the key in creating trust without having to know who's on the other side. And how do we get people to interact on a global basis? And I wanted, it was like a career change for me. So what I really wanted to do was to make sure it was going to be something I was very passionate about. I'm not passionate about agriculture, I'm passionate about food. I have never met a dish I didn't want to try once. So, and having been born in Haiti and having traveled the world, I've also seen what hunger or lack of food or lack of access can do to people. So even though, it's about what I want to do, but I think food politics is a reality. And how do we make sure that there is ample, because there is ample food, it's just not getting to the right place. So this is really, in a way, using project management skills, bringing in the aspect of technology and bringing trust, because our food is no longer grown by the person next door to us, or we may not have the ability to grow enough to feed ourselves. We saw some of the effect during COVID. People started panicking. Can I get access? One of the biggest things that's happening also right now is the tariffs. Guess what? Sitting in the US, giving me a different perspective. But getting food over, and what's happening is the US is trying to circumvent the intermediaries that get the food. So right now, raw materials come in from Latin America or from Africa, and they go to Europe or they go to China, and then it's packaged and sent back and sold to the US, which means you can have your supply chain cut off. So how do we use technology to do that? And unfortunately, I think sometimes we put technology, the horse first before the cart. So what I've done is I said, you know what? Okay, now I know it works. I've proven that it can work, but we need to work with government, we need to work with communities to understand what are their needs and then help them design with us. So what I'm of the mindset is it's not the same technology for everyone, because not every community can do the same thing. And so really this is where my work right now, I'm working a lot with sovereign nations, working with people who are in the trade business to see how do we meet the need both of the local community and the far out community, and eventually bring in technology. They don't need to know what it is. We don't know how our email goes, we know it goes. So in that same vein, this is kind of the work that I'm driving.
Brilliant, thank you. Can we have a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you so much. And last but not least,
Oh, yeah. Thank
Veronica.
you. So, most people know me as Veronica Safoa Owusu, born and raised in Ghana to a traditional Ashanti father and a liberal Polish mom. So I have a fusion of both cultures and an appreciation of both worlds. So most people know me as V Power Coach. V for Veronica and the power that I had to step into once upon a time. And most people, when you go on my LinkedIn and you go on my profile, you know that I'm a transformational coach, president of Educational Communities Worldwide, an NGO that functions in Ghana. People know me as this best-selling author of Rise Up Gold-Dust Queen, 50 Golden Nuggets on how to reignite your spark and rebuild your life when things go wrong. In this case, a relationship breakup or even a divorce, which was my story. And yeah, most people know me as this lively, energetic presence, right? A transformational coach who also works with global catalysts, visionaries, high impact change makers who are shaping lives and have to navigate the complexities between public brilliance and personal burdens. And how do you navigate that, dual identity? And how do you lead and live with confidence, with joy, with fulfillment, and also with impact? So most people know me as all these things. And of course, I love to dance. When you see me on LinkedIn, I'm like always dancing. Because in Ghana, we have talking drums. That's how we communicate, through music, through movement. And that's just my signature. But what most people don't know, maybe a few who really know me personally, know that about 15 years ago, V Power, as you know her today, as you see me standing here today, was very much V Powerless. This is 15 years ago, standing in front, I don't know if you know of a pawnbroker's shop, where you go sell your precious belongings. That was me. In this pawnbroker shop, selling my precious belongings, two of our companies had gone bankrupt. An import-export company back in Poland and a web development branding agency. And there I am, standing at this pawnbroker shop, selling my precious belongings. And I always say in that very moment, I don't know, that whisper, what on earth are you doing here? Like, it's like a wake-up call. You don't even know, it's like you're a zombie sleeping or something. Like, how did I get here? What, is this my life? Are these the kind of choices I have to be making? Has it come to this? And I always say that was my darkest moment and my lowest point in my life, because I realized, Veronica, this is not your life. You had been living somebody else's dream, somebody else's expectation of who you should be. And in that darkest moment, I always say it was my breakthrough. Because that was my warrior, but she was caged in those illusionary bars of who she thought she should be, in her own crippling beliefs of what she thought she was. And it was in that moment that breakthrough happened, because it embarked me on my journey, which has brought me today to see you. The journey of transformation, the journey of understanding who we are beyond the labels, because that question, who am I, when everything that I had once identified myself with ceased to exist? Even the label of a wife I eventually lost, a label I proudly, carried. I lost it. So then who are you? Hence, the work I do today is very transformational, because it helps those that are navigating the public brilliance, that impact. I call it the gold dust effect. It's sprinkling. Those that are visionaries and really want to make a difference, but then navigating who you are beyond all that and within all that. So I'm here today to inspire, to empower, but also to evoke that whatever is within you needs to be unleashed. Whatever has been buried needs to be unearthed. For that's the transformational journey you and I are constantly on. I still am discovering myself. I call it Rise Up Gold Dust Queen, because gold, Ghana used to be called Gold Coast. Gold because gold happens from a supernova, the explosion or the death of a star. And when a star dies in that explosive galactic event, the intense heat fuses together to create gold. So we are refined through gold. So you and I are all gold as queens and kings, for we have all been through the fire, haven't we? Thank you.
I love that. That's really empowering. Yeah. We've got a woman king on the panel. Right, okay, so we're looking at barriers by design and unlocking invisible walls. I want to jump straight in okay, because I want you to talk about barriers. I want to thank you, Veronica, for sharing personal stories, because sometimes we don't sort of take into account, if we're talking about a journey from a career or business point of view, sometimes we kind of forget that we have personal trials and tribulations that we have to juggle as well, and sometimes that can make us misstep, if not drop to our knees. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing that personal story. So I'm not going to ask you, not because I'm being really obvious. I'm going to go to Bimbo because I want to ask about the barriers, because you were talking about sort of different things moving from one point to the other with going into tech and thinking that would help. Can you share the barriers?
So I think that one of the barriers I have faced is, because you mentioned personal, is what she talked about when she mentioned imposter syndrome. I think that that's a major barrier beyond looking at what is happening outside, but what's happening within. I think that if we are able to break that, everything outside, we would be able to face the world. And we talk about the skin, we talk about all of that, but it's something more internal for me personally to say that, can you do it? When you get into a space, I've heard someone say to me that I don't even know how to talk to somebody that is not my color. And I'm like, what do you mean? We are all human first. Yeah. And we are human, and then we are women. So if you look within, for me, it's that I face a lot of imposter syndrome, and it's the imposter syndrome that says you can't be better than who you are yesterday. It's an imposter syndrome that says that you are too young to achieve what you think you want to achieve in future. And I remember when Ngozi was speaking, that she was talking about the height is just there. Okay, let's even start first. Let me even get to the trees first. And it's also imposter syndrome saying that you cannot do it. And I don't believe that I cannot do it. Because looking at the background that I'm from a very, very low-level background. And where I am today, when I look at it, I'm like, if I had not overcome some level of imposter syndrome, I will not be here today. And for me, imposter syndrome are in levels. You get, for everything you want to achieve in terms of success, there is always this imposter syndrome that comes to say, no, you can get to another level. You can go to the next level. So for me, I think that first barrier is a barrier of imposter syndrome. And when I look outside of my space, what are the barriers that I faced? Sincerely, the barriers I face, sometimes you look at it in form of structure, but sometimes it is human. And when I say human are the people that we meet and we see in the offices, right? At some point in my life, I remember that I was trying to be a better person. And there was this person saying that, no, you cannot. And I would appreciate what the last panel said, because there is this person that we want to help us at every point in time. But I think that we should be that person that wants to help, that wants to be. I don't know if that makes sense. It may not really make sense, but I feel like. So what I'm trying to say is, I remember at the point where I decided to leave my job because of a human that was disturbing me. And this human is a human of our color. And it was so bad, but there was one person that was in the system that said, Bimbola, never ever resign because of a human. Resign because you want to resign. That is also a barrier. And this woman built herself to get to that position, and she's our color. And I'm like, I need to be that woman as well, because there is somebody coming up at the point that I am right now that needs support. And that's why we are all in this room. Yeah. Right. So yeah, I would say human, and then imposter syndrome. Yeah. For me.
Thank you. Can we show some love for that? I wanted to pick up from the human side, because I speak at a lot of women's conference for all women, and I always more or less open with there is a special place in hell for women who don't support other women.
I didn't see that moment.
And I'd like to take credit for it, but in 2014, former US ambassador to the United Nations, Madeleine Albright, said that she was a victim of women not supporting her and putting her down. I can use that for black women who don't support other black women as well. It is a travesty as far as I'm concerned. Why does it happen? And I'm going through the menopause. I get a bit hot. I forget one or two things, but you know what? I don't forget that, and I call it out. So yes, I'm glad you picked that up, because that's human barriers are horrendous, and especially sort of women of colour as well. I want to go to New York again. I want to ask you, Genevieve, I keep saying your name wrong, I'm so sorry. I want to ask you, because part of the question is about barriers to design, by design, and I think some of the food issue that you mentioned are barriers by design. Am I wrong?
What I find interesting is the majority of food processing, food trading, does not involve women. So we need to be part of that conversation. It does my heart great to see in Africa, there's a lot of women coming out who are, owning the processing plant, and also the manufacturing. Now, we have to also say food is nourishment not only for the body, but for survival. So if there isn't enough, and if a mother has to struggle with the kind of food that she's feeding to her child, that's a responsibility. So understanding what goes in, how it's assessed, becomes a headache. You never hear, unless somebody can tell me, I have never seen where you see men going crazy trying to feed the child. It's always pictures of women doing it. So we have to basically understand the tools, and this is part of what I try to do, is to break it down. What is it? What is the process? It is a process. It's like project management. That you go from 1, 2, 3. If you don't understand it and you're not part of it, you can't enter it. So I think Bimbola spoke about that. It's that whole idea of how do we make it visible so that you can participate. So the barriers are through lack of understanding and that opacity. And as you said, this whole idea of women taking other women, when somebody asks me, do you know of a project? I always go through my head, what are the Black women that I know who are running projects, who need help in presenting them to investor? Wow. And that's what we don't do enough sometimes as women, is to think about who is in our sphere or removed that we can promote. Because you're not going to be, what I found is you don't get the job from applying. You get the job from somebody recommending you.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Amen. Amen. I gobble up statistics and data. And one of the things I saw was the fact that the most fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the world are women in Africa. Yeah, women-owned business in Africa, which is brilliant. I think it's around about 40%. And also what I discovered as well is that, you never see this in the news properly, is that for the past, 10, 12 years, there's been, about 100,000 hectares, if not more, of... basically, the Sahara Desert is growing and it's moving and it's ruining towns and villages, therefore ruining crops, therefore ruining food source. And so it's growing. To stop that, there are these half-moon dugouts with seeds where they're planting trees, and it's basically a wall. Yes, you've got the Great Wall of China, you've got Donald Trump wanting to build a wall, but no, in Africa, it's a wall of trees to help the environment and to protect villages and to stop the Sahara growing. That's the kind of news we need to hear. Thank you. So, same thing to do with barriers. I'm going to come to you because I need you to think about some of the women that you've been supporting and they've had barriers. That's why I'm giving you time.
You're good.
Yes. Veronica.
Two things, simply, as I was listening to everyone talking, very valid points. Two things I feel from my experience. Communication and conversations. They're all, of course, connected. But building an online business from scratch, in my case, online coaching business, and helping others build their businesses, helping others build their confidence, helping others thrive internally, externally, and holistically, Communication. Some of us have lost our voices, and I feel that the voice to speak up clearly, articulate your value clearly, have clarity on what exactly your value is, and be able to communicate that effectively can really get you that job, can really build that relationship, can really get you that investment, can really get you into a door. So your ability to communicate is one, I feel, barrier that hasn't yet been mentioned. And then conversations. Every time, sometimes I have a session with my clients, I'm like, how many conversations did you have this week? You know, I'm struggling to attract clients online. I'm struggling to build this. Okay, how many conversations have you had? None. 2, 3. So conversations. How many conversations can you have this week that will take you one step closer to what it is that you want to achieve? Sometimes we are our own barriers in many ways. So just keeping it short and sweet. More conversations and sharpen your ability to communicate effectively, clearly, and confidently. I think that will break through many, many doors and many, many glass ceilings, because that comes with confidence and with courage. And that comes with one's ability to know yourself, know your worth, know what you represent in this world, and how you're positioning yourself to really impact lives. And being able to articulate, communicate, and have conversations around that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you ready, Heather?
So I've got so many examples. I have a really good one on the investment world. And actually, this is a lady who used to be based in Manchester, but she's gone back, based in London now. An Indian lady who came highly educated, worked in New York, worked in the investment world in New York, came to the UK, had her own tech-based business, and she's going for investment. So she's been on the other side of the table previously. And she's going for investment and couldn't get investment. She knows she's investable. She couldn't get it. So one of the guys who worked for her, a white guy, she said, when you come to work tomorrow, bring a jacket with you, because techies tend to have jeans, T-shirt kind of thing. Brought a jacket, took him to the next investment meeting. And they directed all the questions at him, not her. They got investment. So that was her example of somebody who knew completely and utterly she should have got the money. She's been around that table. That story is most about, I think it's pre-COVID. So we go back 5-6 years ago. She told me that story. Kept in touch with her a few times over the years. You know, we still connect every so often. I was at Climb a couple of weeks ago, Climb 25 over in Leeds, and I heard a similar story. So that was from the female side of things, of actually, when they went to a meeting, they couldn't get anywhere. They took a man with them, and they spoke to the man. So they completely ignored the woman. So that is still happening. You know, it's an old story and a new story. I think from the other side of it, Caroline, I would say that part of the time, from a female point of view, that women aren't putting themselves forward for the money. They don't think they will get it, therefore they don't apply for it.
So self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely. And this goes back to the imposter syndrome. It goes back to it's not right for me, that it's not me who's the right person for it. So that's something from a business support world where actually, how do we then encourage more women to apply for the funding, which is where you get programs that are aimed purely at women? Or we've got one that's actually coming out later on this year that's just been out, and I'll share the details via Michael, so it goes out to everybody who's here today. And it's actually the class as underrepresented communities, which has got about 25 characteristics of different people who can apply for it. But actually, how do we help those people who automatically think, I won't get that funding, therefore I won't apply for it, to actually recognise we are going to help you actually take yourself forward. And it just, I was on an EDI course yesterday, and we did the whole thing between equality, diversity and equity, and we kind of having those conversations. And it's actually how do we actually help everybody get that leg up and make sure they realise there is support there for them and there is funding? And how do we work with the investment community for them to behave better? It's by having more women and more people of colour actually be in the investment community.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I knew if I left her to brew for a bit, she's like a tea bag. She's come up with a bit of a nugget. Because the thing is that my attitude is, it's not us to try and fix them. They've got to do it from within. This is where the allyship, this is where they have to actually think about what they're doing and what they're missing out on. And from within, to weave from within about the investors giving us investment. I'm part of the Chartered Management Institute. I've been part of it for about 10 years. I'm deputy chair of the Women's Board, and I'm on Her Royal Highness's task force for some of the policies that are out there, the Duchess of Edinburgh, which is having a seat at the table. I was one of the very few black people to have a seat at that table. I was put on by one of the top black women in finance. She's working behind the scenes. She's friends of Dame Thingy Rose. Alison. Yeah, the other Heather that was in banking. And behind the scenes, she's trying to get some of this changed in relation to that. She's the first black chancellor of the University of York, or ever in the history of York, and that happened a couple of years ago. But the thing with the Chartered Management Institute is that I am encouraging you to have a look at that, because sometimes when you go for things, people think that you can't manage people, you can't liaise or interact with people. They pull you and drop you into the trope of the angry black woman.
Thank you.
Again, I told you I gobbled up data. I gobble up data all the time. I'm not going to spout out a load of data, but the thing is that you have that certificate there that says that you're a chartered manager, that by, whether you like royals or not, by royal patronage, you can have nominals after your name to say that you're a chartered manager, and that you can do that role to manage people. Because if they see that you can manage people, you've been accredited to manage people, that's another thing that they can't take away from you. Okay? And now I'm the first black female chair of a regional board for the Chartered Management Institute, West Midlands and North West. I took up that tenure in January. And when I do a Manchester event, I want you all to come, because I want all your faces in that room. And it's one of those things, it is quite diverse, it's very diverse, and it's becoming more so, because they need, for UK PLC, that's what they call it, for UK PLC, they need it to be diverse. Why? Because we help the bottom line, and we help the money and the GDP in this country. And they know it. Okay? Right, okay. Should we... Sorry, I'm preaching.
Eye contact.
Eye contact. I'm preaching. Right, okay. Thank you for that, because you naturally went into how we can fix it and that kind of thing. I want to jump onto global vision and local roots. Okay. Who can I jump to? Should we go back to New York? For global vision and local roots. Let me look for a question that works for you. It's the scaling. What does scaling actually mean when we're talking about business for a small business looking to expand?
I think it's really one of the things that I think as small businesses sometimes don't have is the tools. What are the tools that you need to?
Yeah.
How do you come up with your financial projection? How do you understand where your money is going? And because that's going to be key in being able to not only get the investment or build the assets that you need to be able to get that funding. And scaling has to be done in a way that's sustainable, because you don't want to go and spread yourself too thin and as a result blow out your whole business. So what I think sometimes is missing is simple. Not everybody's going to get an MBA, and we don't all need an MBA. We just need to know what tools are available to us out there. There are some good AI tools, but I feel it's so much noise. How do we know which one is going to work for us, and how can we put them to use? But the biggest thing that I think is having that financial model, understanding what are the timing that you need to have. You don't need to spend the money right away. And one of the things that actually I've found that we don't make use of enough as women is what I call line of credits. We are all chasing the investors. I can tell you, I don't want investors on my cap table, because that's like having a mama who's telling you how you can spend your money and why they don't think this is going to be the right way to go about it. So if we can actually, and I think this is the part that we as women to women need to break down. What are the tricks and tricks that we need to be able to do? And that then allows you to not only scale, but also to be sustainable in your scaling and be able to communicate effectively to your banker, to your staff, and to your mama, even what she's doing.
Yeah. And mentors as well. Do you think mentors are a fantastic asset, aren't they?
I think mentors are necessary, but also one has to come up with the understanding that your mentor need not be somebody who's older or more, they will have something that they can impart to you. And that can be like a sounding board. Not your therapist, but a sounding board. Are you thinking this is right? Can you look at this for me? Wow. And I also, so it's being yourself open to mentoring and also to be mentored. And don't wait for somebody to offer it to you. If you feel this is the right person, you go and ask. I mean, I usually have 3 or 4 people that I'm mentoring. Some of them stay long term. Some of them is through the challenge that they're trying to navigate. But what that also does, believe it or not, is also gives you the opportunity to be advisors. Because as a mentor, what you are as an advisor, and another stream of income is to be providing that role to companies. So I think that we should explore that. And we're in a world where waiting for the 9 to 5 to happen, or to apply for a job, or to find it online is almost impossible. So scaling yourself and scaling your opportunity to be successful is a necessity. And I believe Veronica talked about having conversation, and those are done through having conversation. What I'm actually though also learning is how to keep yourself, to be stingy with your time. Because what I had found is like, people want to have conversation. They take an hour from you. They're taking your, what kills me is when they take your idea and you see somebody else doing something that you have.
Oh, so God, yeah. Yes, I totally agree. Oh, I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
That's funny. But so one of the things is how to say enough without saying a lot. That's another art.
Yeah.
And that's part of this. So it's creating for yourself the opportunities without actually being the one who's taken advantage of.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Go on then.
Okay, I'll just say, shall I talk about the funding bit?
Before you say that, I just want to say, one of my former mentees is in the room. I did say I only mentor black women or women, but he's a man. But he's okay. He's come out the other side, haven't you? Yeah? Very well. Yeah, okay. Bless him. Go on, Heather.
No, just picking up about the investment, I totally agree. I meet so many people on a regular basis. I'm network manager for Access to Finance, and they all want to go for investment. So investment is a way of scaling your business very quickly. But actually, it's very, very difficult in the north of England to get pre-revenue investment. And you'll hear people talk about, well, go out and bootstrap, build a business a little bit, get a customer, validate you've got a business, and then see, actually, do I still need investment, or shall I look for an alternative? Because I come from a banking environment, so where debt was always the solution rather than investment. There's more than one way of doing this. And actually, there's so many people I've seen for so many years around at every event you go to. I don't know how they actually feed themselves, to be honest. Going back to the food thing, I don't know how they keep the lights on, because they are chasing a big check, and it's just not always going to happen. Not everybody's investable, and there's not enough money at the moment for the pre-revenue anyway. So to me, it's more than the money. Actually, what support do you need? So even though I work for Access to Finance, anyone has a conversation, maybe like, what you're trying to do, what's your biggest barrier? It won't be just the money, it'll be the conversations, how you're going to have conversations, get your sales. Have you actually found your customer? Have you got the right market fit? How are you going to market yourself? So all those things are equally as important as the money. So it's a wider conversation that. So really, you know, investment is a solution. We celebrate people getting, they've got £1 million, or they went to the States and they got £3 million.
You've got to give that back, right?
Well, it's not yours anyway. You're answerable to these people. And actually, that's the beginning of the journey. You're actually succeeding in raising the money to go and build the business. So it's the stage one of actually a very, very long journey. So I would say, even if that is the solution to scale, and depends what your desire is and scale, the those of you go back to 2019, there's very few women owned a business had £1 million plus turnover. Most women kept their business small than that because actually at the stage they were in their life as they're building the business, actually they possibly had a family. And that doesn't mean children, that means parents as well. I mean, many of us now have got children and parents that we look after both sides. I'm waiting for the day where it flips back the other way because I've got it both ends at the moment. And we, you know, a lot of us in that scenario now. So the choices women make as to how they will grow their business, what scaling means to them. But really have a good conversation with people about getting some support. There's loads out there. Find your right tribe, and I pinched that from Carol Ann, the whole tribe word. But it's about getting the people who will help you, support you. Find your peer support, people doing something similar to you or on the similar kind of journey. And get some advice regarding the funding. You know, find your right financial model for you or what you're comfortable with. But do stretch yourself, because I've met so many businesses that actually could have been a lot bigger, a lot quicker. I do a lot of judging for awards, and I did some last week, and actually two things that came out clearly was, I wish I'd done it sooner. So, you know, possibly women, and back to the imposter syndrome, maybe take a bit longer to get to that point where they go, right, I'm ready, I'm going to go for it. So bear that in mind as well.
Wow. That's excellent advice. Excellent advice. I want to sort of pull it round, because I know that we were ahead of we were what, about an hour, Michael? Behind time? About
5 more minutes.
yeah. That's you see, that's what I want to do, because you've not given me one time check. I've had to look after. There you go. You see, ladies, this is what we've got to do. We've got to look after ourselves. Got to sort it out and look out. I'm going to wrap up. I was going to do a quote from Maya Angelou. No. Bear with. I was going to do a quote because it's Nelson Mandela Day. I was going to do a Nelson Mandela. Yeah. No. No. What did I say at the beginning? Publisher, editorial. I can write. I'm going to write my own bloody quotes. Thank you very much. Anyway, don't make me kiss my teeth. All right. Okay, so the way I see it is every black woman who shatters the silence of the past to lead means that every barrier becomes a stepping stone towards a society where everyone can thrive. Our strength isn't just to change, it's a revolution of compassion and collaboration. The power of a black woman in leadership shines brightest when it reflects the strength of sisterhood and true allyship. Together, we are bloody unstoppable. Ooh. Thank you very much. A round of applause, give some sugar and love to Genevieve. How do I say it? Jean-Vier. I've got O-level French. Jean-Vier in New York. You've been amazing. Thank you. Veronica, Bimbo, and Heather. Please show some love, and thank you for listening. Sorry.
I told you guys this was going to be a power session. Whoa, and they delivered. Awesome. Thank you very much, Carol. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you, Genevieve. Thank you so much. Jean-Vieve. Thank you very much. Thank you, Angie, for the correction. Thank you so much, Bimbo. Thank you so much. Thank you, Veronica. Awesome. You always bring it on board anytime. You always bring it on. Thank you very much. So we'll go to the final panel before we then have one testimonial from one of our sisters. But for the testimonial, I would advise everybody, make sure you have a tissue paper on your side. I don't want to see tears, so have a tissue paper to your side so you can, because it's really, really, really touching. I can bet everybody will be moved. But before we go into that, just to finalize on the last panel, so I would call on my sister, personal sister, Ngozi Wella, to lead the panel. You. And her name is Ngozi as well. Yes. Yeah. That's why I said personal, and the resemblance is there. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Yes, and I would like to bring to stage as well a fantastic lady. My sister as well, another sister. I have too many sisters. I would like to welcome on stage Sharon. Please join us. That's my sister as well. Yes, you know yourself. Yes, please. Chanel, please join us. Yes. Natasha. Natasha. Veronica's power session was so powerful. I mean, it's still ringing bell in my head. Awesome. And last but not the least, to join the panel, please. I know you personally told me you have a story that resonates, and I would like you to join this panel after sharing that beautiful song. Please, KKC Onyikon, please, if you join us, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. So for this panel, we've got 40 minutes.
Oh, 40 minutes. Okay.
Is that
fine?
Should I 20?
You can try. You can.
No, I don't want to get in trouble with you.
Listen, Michael, you can try and keep it to time, but I'm making no promises.
Yeah. And just to quickly give you the topic for this panel before I let them dive into it. So the topic for this panel, which is going to be led by Ngozi Wella, is balancing boldness, burnout, and a candid dialogue on health, resilience, and the toll of high-impact work with coaches, founders, and well-being leaders. And they're all here.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ngozi Wella. Thank you. The panel is yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Hey. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Ngozi Wella, and I am co-founder of a business called Aurora. We are a culture change consultancy based right here in Manchester, and we transform workplace culture through leadership development, mental health strategy, productivity, and equitable inclusion solutions. I'm also a board member at Pro Manchester, which is Manchester's biggest and brightest business network, where I joined the board with one express mission, which is to make Pro Manchester pro-black. And I'm proud to say, with my partner in crime who's sitting in the audience there, Mr. Wayne Bennett, we're still reveling in the joy that was the first ever Racial Equity Group Connect event. And we managed to bring together almost 200 entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals of all different races together at the fantastic Bridgewater Hall to talk about how we move that needle that's moving ever so slowly a little quicker for us here in Manchester. So if you want to find out more about the work that Wayne and I do at Pro Manchester, if you want to know about joining the what did you call it? Ethnic Minority Business Database, because we've got to include everybody on this journey, it's collaboration, then do come and find me or find Wayne, and we'll tell you how we can get your business registered so that when they say they're looking for you, they'll know where to go. Yeah. And I'm really honoured to be here today. I didn't know until Michael sent this brief that today's Nelson Mandela Day. Did you guys know that? Okay, so it's just me then. Okay, but today, on this Nelson Mandela Day, it's a day that's reminding us of the resilience and the sacrifice that it takes to really change. And it's not just about the change that's required and so badly needed in society, especially today, but I'm talking about the changes that we need to make internally too. So I'm going to be leading this conversation with these exceptional women, and I mean, this is a powerhouse of a panel, it is. But I want it to be a real conversation, right? So I'm not going to be like, no, over to you, Sharon, and then to you, Chanel. No, I'm going to ask questions, and if you feel you have something to contribute, please do jump in. We're going to talk honestly and vulnerably about the toll that this, like I said in the last panel about Black excellence, the toll that takes, that high impact work, especially for women like us, who we are so often carrying so much more than just our job titles, right? We're going to share, we're going to reflect and explore what it really means to thrive without losing ourselves in the process. Okay? But before I do that, let's have this panel dive in and introduce themselves. But before I do that even, when I was looking at the title, Burnout, I wanted to be very clear about what we're talking about because it's a word that gets, I feel, a little overused. So I want to be clear. Burnout it's not synonymous with stress. Burnout is more than just being tired. It's a sustained state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion. And it's caused by long-term, unrelieved, unrelenting pressure that's made worse by a lack of support or control or recognition. And the effects of burnout are truly, truly devastating. Believe me. The reality is it doesn't impact all of us equally. There was a study in 2022 in the US done by the University of Alabama, of all places, that found that Black women report higher levels of psychological stress than white women and carry a disproportionate burden of chronic conditions associated with psychological stress. It's not just about overwork. It's about the compounded toll of being relied upon, overlooked, expected to outperform without the rest or the resources that we deserve. And as someone who's lived through burnout myself and now leads a consultancy that's helping organizations prevent it, I know how deeply personal and urgently political that this conversation is. Okay? So let's start from hearing from each of our brilliant panelists, who I know have a lot on this topic to share. If you could just introduce yourself briefly, your name and what you do, and then we'll get right into the good stuff. I feel like this is a safe space and we're all friends now, so we can go in deep really quick. Is that okay? I'll start with you, Sharon.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon Amesu, and I have two hats today. So the first is SA Consulting, and that is an organization that supports organizations with leadership development, and we support leaders with executive coaching, keynote speaking, consulting, and the like, in order to ensure that cultures within those organizations are more inclusive and enable people to thrive. The other hat that I wear is that of She Leads for Legacy, and that's an organization that I co-founded with my daughter. We're both barristers by profession. I'm no longer in practice. She is in practice. And we were looking at our distinct journeys between the 25 plus years when we entered the profession. And we noted that there were sort of confluence of the wrong areas in too many spaces, namely the challenges that we faced in entering the profession. And so we began to do some exploration and excavation to understand more of the barriers that Black women face in the legal sector, first of all, and then we expanded that outside of the legal sector to understand more of the challenges across different sectors, across different spectrums for Black women. And She Leads for Legacy was born to address those issues, and we have three pillars. First of all, connectivity. Second, learning and development. And thirdly, influencing, and specifically influencing policy. And in our work, we host an annual conference. It's grown year on year. In our first year, we had 120 Black women and allies who came into the room. The second year, we had 260. And last year, we had 450. And this year, we're expecting 800 people in partnership with Manchester Central. Thank you.
Who here has been to a She Leads for Legacy event? Okay, next year I want every hand up, because seriously, you need to go. You really must go. It is the most... Remember I said before about being in community is one of the supports that you need. This is one of those places. This is one of those communities. Join She Leads. I can only recommend it.
Hi, I'm Chanel. You've already heard me sing, so first hat is I'm a singer-songwriter. I've had the pleasure of singing all over the world, in Jamaica, in Europe, at different events, weddings. I'm on Spotify, so you can find me there. I'm also part of the 100 Voices Women's Choir that is run by Bethel. I also do help in doing some vocal coaching myself. I also lead harmonies and help with harmonies and vocals in my church and in the organisation. The second hat is I work in probation. So it's total opposite. A serious role, but something that I'm passionate about in terms of helping our community. Like somebody said on one of the first panels, is a large amount of Black men that are institutionalized, and I want to really try and combat that and try and make an impact however I can. I came from a legal background, but I no longer wanted to be part of a law firm. And I realized that I like being around people, I like interacting with people, and I wanted to make a change, so that's why I ended up in probation. So, yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Natasha Vivaswamy, and I am the CEO and founder of an organization by the name of Bonded Through Cancer. I'm not going to speak much because I still have to speak on my journey and my lived experience. So I'll pass the mic already, right? But who run the world? Girl. Who run the world? Girl. I'm so happy to be here. Trust me. So I'm holding my excitement, right? And I'm just honored. I'm honored to be a part of this platform and express how much we are moving into tech also. So I'll save my story and I'll just do the panel thing for now. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Oinkosala Onchekwa, a.k.a. KKC, which is my stage name. I like to think of myself as a multi-hyphenate creative. So I do a lot of things. First, I'm about to enter my third year of PhD. My PhD is in artificial intelligence and data science, where I'm researching emotions in Afrobeat music lyrics using AI and deep learning. Wow. I've been writing music since I was 7. Between then and now, like I said earlier, over 500 songs, over 200 poems. I taught myself to play the guitar, the drums, the piano, and I've released about 15 or 16 songs on streaming platforms. I've got one coming out August 20th, Pieces, so keep an eye out for that. I also run and founded an NGO called KKC and the Community Initiative that's based in Nigeria, my home country. What we do is we offer free cervical and breast cancer screening to women in need from underserved communities. We also do outreaches to schools, primary schools, secondary schools, and we do one-on-one outreaches as well, so need-based. We've been doing that since 2017. I've got a lovely team of volunteers of over 200 people. Shout out to them. I'm also into fitness, big on fitness. So back when I was younger, I represented my high school in swimming competitions, basketball, javelin across the world, and I held the record for javelin throwing at my high school. Wow. Backstory, I broke my nose playing soccer, so I don't play soccer anymore, unfortunately. These days, I'm into fitness, so strength training. I love to do pull-ups, by the way. You should check out my fitness page on Instagram, Bedead Gym Rat. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I also love to cook, to bake, experiment with all sorts. So like I said, I wear lots of hats.
So true multi-potentialite.
Yeah.
And they tell us black people can't swim. Hey. Okay. So we're talking about burnout today, and I had a question for the panel, and it occurred to me, actually, I want to ask this question to all of us. Okay, first off, can we agree this is a safe space? Yes. Can we agree that actually when we are honest and open, that will lead to growth? Okay, so I want us all to feel comfortable sharing and honouring what the other shares. Okay, so we're going to keep what happens in this room is going to stay in this room. Okay, all right. Cameras everywhere. There's cameras everywhere. I don't care. Okay, this is a safe space. Understand? Okay, so the first question I had is, how many people in this room have personally experienced burnout? By the medical definition of burnout. Yeah. Hey, that's much higher than the national average. No, but genuinely, It is, isn't it? Look at it. That's like 50%. That is not the national average. Okay. And if you haven't personally experienced burnout, have you loved anyone or supported anyone through burnout? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we all know what we're talking about. But over to the panel. Have any of you been in that unfortunate position? Yes. What was it like for you, your experience? Do you want to share, KKC? What do you want me to call you, by the way?
KKC. KKC is fine. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm actually currently experiencing burnouts because I'm 27 years old and I have been in school almost all my life. I've only had like 2 years break. The same day I finished my master's, 2 years ago was the last year, the same day I began my PhD. I did my bachelor's about, I think, a couple of years before that, and I had just 2 years break in between to do my NYSC and work for like a year. So I've literally been in academia all my life, and it's research after research, building deep learning models that for some reason never seem to work. It's taken a huge toll on me. Plus, I've had to combine that with my music career. I've had to combine that with my fitness, everything that I love doing. And people see me and they ask me, how do you do all of these things at once? Because sometimes I don't realize that I'm doing many things until I actually speak to someone and say, oh, this is what I do. Because for a long time, it felt normal to me. Because where I come from, you know, my parents are very supportive. So if they see that you're into something, immediately they channel resources, channel money, trying to support you to do what you like to do. All the guitars I've ever owned, my dad and my mom bought them for me. So it's like, okay, I'm at this stage in my life where I'm thinking, wow, I'm actually doing a lot. I'm constantly stressed. Academic pressure is getting to me. Music pressure is getting to me. How do I handle all of this? I can't say that I'm doing a great or a fantastic job at it, but I like to think that I'm taking things one step at a time. And one thing that I've realized that is really helpful is to schedule things based on importance and priority. For me, I feel like, oh, I can do everything at once, but that's really not the case. I'm not superhuman. I'm literally just a human being at the end of the day. So sometimes I feel like, okay, if I want to get 10 things done, prioritize them in order of importance, which is the most pressing thing at this point in time. I know it feels like that's a very easy way out, but it actually helps a great deal. It helps me not feel so overwhelmed when it's like, bam, 10 things in my face at once.
What about you, Natasha?
What a topic.
Wait, let me just start. Michael warned me about you and timekeeping and stuff. I said I'm not gonna silence anybody. So
Don't worry. As you guys have been speaking about it and yourself at this moment, I only realized I was going through a burnout probably last year, which was after 10 years of running the organization. And I was on an accelerator program. And on the program, I was on a Zoom call and literally broke down in front of everyone. I don't know if I was embarrassed. However, I did know at that moment because they told me. Yes, throughout the years of running my organization, I was told I was a robot because I would work like a robot.
yeah, you go hard.
I go hard. Yeah. As I said, I will speak on my journey and my experience around what I'm talking about. However, I would say the way out was God. That was the only way out, to be honest. You know, I had to reach for spirituality to understand that this is not the way forward. You know, because we may go through experiences that catapult us into being superhuman. We want to change the world. Yeah. We are world changers. We want to help everyone. We become crusaders. Yeah. We are on a crusade to help everyone. And it's not it. I had to have mentors to at least pull the reins. I'm like a whole reindeer or a horse. So I'm pretty sure everyone in the room has experienced those moments of going and going and going and going, because there's a motivation, there's a determination, there's a fire. Again, I'm pretty sure everyone here has a story. So those lived experiences take you to these places of going and going and helping and changing. And we cannot. So where do I go? Where do we go here? Yes, I've experienced burnout.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know, it's what you said, that especially when you feel like you've got a vision, a mission, something that you're determined to bring to life. And we already know, we've talked about the barriers that we have to overcome that make it even harder. So you're geared up, you're ready to break down doors. But we can't do it all.
No.
Can't do it all excellently all the time, even though we expect ourselves to. So Sharon, how do we know when to stop or pause or ask for help?
So I think it's really interesting that some of the misconceptions that exist, you pointed to them, regarding burnout, is that it's what you get burned out when you're doing stuff that you don't enjoy. Actually, that's not necessarily the case, right? It's often the purposeful people who are wanting to do something that will change people's lives that often find themselves burned out. And to your question, Ngozi, about how do we become aware of what's going on for us, and in that awareness, how do we address it? And for me, when I said that I didn't put my hand up to having faced burnout, because I didn't face burnout, but I almost did. And my awareness came when I was actually in practice. So I had been in practice for around about the 10-year mark. Altogether, I was a criminal practitioner, a criminal barrister. Wow. And when I started out in practice, I had a real sense of passion and vocation. I wanted to make a difference in my community. I grew up during the 1970s and during the 1980s. That was your cue to go, no way, but you missed the opportunity, so it's all right, we'll carry on anyway. And so...
Say it louder, say it louder.
And so during that time, there was a lot of disruption, there was a lot of discontent in the communities across Greater Manchester, in particular black communities, and most notably West Indian communities. And so there was great fraction between the state and communities, and in particular the policing of black communities. And so I grew up with a real sense of passion. My dad was a community activist. He was a titular leader. He didn't have an appointment, so to speak, but he rose up in order to help young black students in particular. So that sense of vocation was really a driver for me, an energy for me. But I got to around about the 10-year mark. And when you start out in the profession, you, certainly as a criminal barrister, you're exposed to the most heinous crimes, right? Just awful crimes. But somehow you're able just to navigate it, right? You'll know what I'm talking about. Like it's not that you're desensitized, but somehow awful crimes are your day-to-day. And so you just navigate them. What I began to notice around about 10, 11 years in is that it wasn't so simple to navigate. And I would find myself on a Sunday evening going, do I really want to go and prosecute that case? Do I really want to go and represent that defendant? Do I really want to read through these papers about a rape case? Do I really want to? And it became exhausting. And I found myself hating Mondays, hating Sundays, despising having to travel to that courtroom, despising having to speak to that opponent, despising having to face that judge, and just the stuff that brought life to me and energized me became so de-energizing and so depleting. And so that's what I began to notice, Ngozi, that the things that used to light me up began to let me down. And alongside that, I was also a mum of 3. And there is also this weight that you speak of, the weight of responsibility. I remember going to Manchester Crown Court, for example, and you'd see a member of the community, you're robed up, wig and gown robed up, walking down the corridor, and you'd see someone who'd say, yes, sister, and you're representing us. And you'd feel a real sense of weight and responsibility to stay in that role and to stay in situ, because there's such an expectation of you. So there are those levels, those layers of responsibility that you carry alongside the work, the sort of the day-to-day work. How did I alleviate myself from that? Well, I began slowly but surely to lean into those around me who began to notice stuff that was happening, like that fatigue. They began to notice, and they would speak to that. And I had great support. I genuinely believe that we can't journey alone. And I've got a really strong family network. I had a great husband who was really supportive, and being able to speak to him and speak to that network of family and say, here is what's going on, was really important. Over time, what happened was, as I became intentional about noticing, I began to start setting boundaries, and I developed an acronym for myself, which is BREATHE. And the B is setting boundaries for myself and becoming more unapologetic about that. The R is rest as a radical act, like me getting rest is important. I cannot pour from an empty cup. The E was to edit relentlessly. So I'd think about what is the future self? And often I think about even my daughter, who's my eldest, and the life that I'd want to role model for her, and edit out the stuff that will not get me there. All right. I then, with the A, began to be more bold about asking for what I want. All right, and identifying what my needs were and asking for them. The T was to tend to the truth. What is the truth? What's going on for me right now? Tuning into that and really being honest about that. And the H is holding space for joy. Like, joy is not a luxury. It really isn't. What gives me joy? A nice massage gives me joy, all right? Getting my nails done gives me joy. And though there's a gap right now in them, and I'm in between appointments, and I'm having to live with that because I've drawn attention, and you'll see me mostly holding my hand like that for the camera. The truth is that my nails give me joy, okay. All right?
Safe space.
And then it's a safe space. You said it's a safe space. It's safe. My nails are safe. Yeah. The gap in my nails is safe. And then finally, it's embodying my future self. Like, I've got a dream about who I want to be and how I want to live my life, and so I start living into that. And so I really commend that to you. It's really paying attention, setting boundaries, rest as a radical act, and knowing that I'm always role modeling. My daughter is seeing how I live my life is a testament to her, and it's a message to her, and indeed my sons.
Listen, I hope you were all taking notes, because that is, thank you. Yeah, you need to take notes because that's so important. And there was something in what you said that I think we, particularly as women and as black women, struggle to do, and that is that rest bit, the resting bit. Again, safe space. Who feels guilty when they take rests?
I was literally going to say,
do. Who feels
boundaries.
Lazy when they're not working? I haven't recovered. I'm still doing it. I mean, I can't remember the last time I went on a holiday without my laptop. That's because it hasn't happened. Yeah, don't tell me off, but it's true. That's it. You're like, oh, just in case, I'll just check my email. Resting is a radical act of preservation. And what we need to do is to be conscious of the fact that we are human first. We're not our business first. We're not our mission first. We're human first. And if we want to fulfill the mission, whatever that is, we need to sustain our human bodies, our human mind, our spirits. And that only comes if we've had sufficient rest. So however you do that, you must prioritize rest, must prioritize yourself. Your mental health, your well-being is a wealth that you cannot underestimate. And sadly, in our cultures, we tend to too often. Yeah. So thank you, Sharon, for that fantastic reminder. Remind us again. B is?
Boundaries. R is?
Rest.
As a radical act.
E?
Edit relentlessly. So cut stuff out.
Cut it out.
Cut it out. Ask what you want is the A.
Ask for what you want.
Tend to the truth.
Always tend to the truth.
Yes. Hold space.
Hold space for joy and embody it. Embody your future self. That's such brilliant advice. Thank you. No, I saw you nodding a lot there, Chanel. you did. Yeah. And when Sharon was talking about the early years of her career and all the really difficult, troubling, disturbing, darker side of humanity that you have to advocate for sometimes, at the very least, get into the weeds of to understand. And it takes a mental toll, which when I'm looking at my daughter now, she's 16, and she currently thinks that she wants to go and practice the law. She currently thinks that. I'm saying that as a mum who has known Sharon for a while now, who's like, well, we'll see, won't we? Well, we'll see. we'll think about that. But how did you manage to keep persevering through that? Because I'm presuming that you just did. You just had to keep going.
Yeah.
Was it anything to do with the myth of that you're a strong black woman?
Oh, 100%, yes. I struggle with the I'm a superwoman, which I'll go into a little bit. But in terms of work, for me, it's very much being able to take away the biasness.
What do you mean by that?
So it's being judgmental. So when there are cases, when there are people that you are dealing with, when you know they've not acted right or they've done something that's wrong, you have to be able to look beyond that and actually see the better in someone or the better in a situation. So it causes you to have courage. You have to have courage. You have to be courageous. And you have to, because I feel like in this industry, we're always trying to change something, or we don't want the repeat of something to happen. So then we have to look at the positives, even when it's a bad situation. And I feel like that's the way I deal with it. Obviously, there's other ways and means of how we look at things, because we risk assess a lot. And sometimes you have to look at patterns. You have to look at someone's childhood. What have they been through? And I'm not saying if someone's done something wrong, then, you know, they should be punished. But sometimes people are a product of their environment and how they have been brought up and their experience. So I guess as a black woman, it is... and I'd say that goes for anyone in the industry. They should have that mindset of, we're here to make a change. We're here to not put a boundary or put somebody in a box, because people can change, you know?
Natasha.
Yes.
Now, you hinted a little bit about your story, and I don't want you to share it now because I don't want to spoil it. But an element of that has to have been recovery, right? So what did recovery and healing look like for you? And what would you advise everyone in this room who raised their hands earlier when I said, if you're experiencing burnout, what would you advise them to do?
Seek help. Seek help. I think in the charity sector, in the cancer charity sector that I'm in, being a CEO, seeing so many people pass, a lot of time, throughout the years, a lot of people ask me, who helps you? Who do you go to? And I must have thought I was Superwoman the whole time through until the breaking point. So I don't think I was going to anyone, because what happens is you're the CEO, you're the leader, you have to lead so many people. This is where the pressure is. So you're not really looking, or I don't know if I wasn't looking, but I don't think many people were thinking that I needed help. So, you know, she's courageous, she's strong, she looks good, she looks well, she's not sick, she's smiling. So there was no help for me, and I didn't even know that I needed help. And what I did was thank God for being peculiar, unique, special, chosen. I can say these things today and confidently say them, because what I did have was God. I had to go to God. I had nothing else. And if I had to tell you the story about going to God, or when I allowed God to take control, I always say that I left him for last, which is not great, right? You go through life making all decisions and choices because we are from flesh and we can do what we like. We have free will. However, leaving God for last puts me in a great position today in 2025. Why? Because I can't step out of this. because if I step out of this, I won't have anything. So I always remind myself I have God, and I had God all those years because I didn't go to anyone. And I just was the, I had the cape on, the superwoman. I want to help the world. I want to change the world. I want to be impactful. I want to be inspirational, but I'm not finding a tribe. The tribe that you speak about. And I know it was in the other panel about what would you tell the younger girl, right? In you. What I would say to the younger girl is to seek the older girls, right? Seek the older girls for your tribe. They will teach you. If I had the older girls, and it doesn't mean older in age, maybe experience and wisdom and all the other things, I believe I would be a greater CEO today and had probably impacted more people, right? But I didn't have the older girls. I didn't have a tribe. So when you are at the top and you are the CEO, you make all the wrong decisions sometimes, or you have to go left, or you might go right, and you might go left, and you might go right before you get it right. But if you have the older girls that are mentoring us, we will get it right, especially if you are open to being challenged and taught. So when you're taught, then you will, you don't have to go left and right. It's just like, I use an analogy like in the Army, right? There's a sergeant major or the general, and we're on the front line, right? Because that's what we are when we are in our, running a community interest organization or whatever it is. And we're on the front line. And when you're on the front line, Ngozi will say, she's the general, she says, fire. You do not have the chance to tell the general, not today, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's time, right? You do what the general says. And if we have that mentality from younger to even adults, we will do what our mentors tell us, those that are in leadership positions, those that are running the race ahead of us, to tell us, not now, but we fire tomorrow. And we do what they say. So I'm just piggybacking again off of that little girl, right? And I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother also. And, oh yeah, I'm 51, everyone. Amen.
Yes.
What is it they do?
Yes, that is what we're doing. Snaps, everyone, snaps.
Come on. And this is what I would teach my children and my grandchildren. Listen to authority. It's in the Bible. Yes. It's in the Bible. We can take it back there.
I would caveat that with make sure the authority is actually speaking from a place of wisdom and experience and knowledge. Yeah, but if you get the right people around you, it's only a fool who doesn't take good advice.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And then I go to you, KKC. And you were when you were listing all the stuff that you've done in your 27 years on this earth, I was kind of thinking, how does she do it? Because I know I couldn't have done all of that. And then you said, well, I think I'm in it now. I think I'm in burnout now. So the question for you is, what support would you be looking for? Because, I mean, without us knowing why you're doing so many things, how could you get help? And what kind of help would you need?
Well, first of all, I think I need to go on more holidays.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we all need to go on more holidays. But, more seriously speaking, I have great help from my parents. Mm-hmm. My parents are my biggest supporters. They listen to me. I can call them at 2 a.m. in the morning to cry and say, oh, I'm going through this. And, they'll just talk me through it, remind me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, like some other people have said on the panel, you need to seek help. And the kind of help that I think I would need right now, I think I'd like more mentorship, especially in my specific field of artificial intelligence, because my area of research is so niche. It's almost like nobody has done something exactly like what I'm doing. So
I've never heard of anyone doing
exactly
that.
Exactly. So it's like I've been thrown into the deep end because at the start of my PhD, I had all these big ideas. I'm like, yes, I'm going to be the next big thing. But like every PhD student will tell you, what you start with is not what you finish with. Along the line, your degree would change. You'd experience all sorts of things that you did not even know was possible. So it's been like a game changer for me, having this big, bright idea at the start of my PhD. And then now I'm like, wow, how did I even get here? This is completely different from what I wanted to do, coupled with the fact that there's not a lot of, helpful research to point me in the right direction and say, okay, you need to use this model, you need to try this thing. So it'd be really nice, if I had more help in that area. But of course, again, I'm also the help I need. This is my research. I need to put more energy, put more time.
But what I'm hearing you say is you need to work harder. I need to work harder.
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, because...
I'm being really clear here because I'm the example that you... Let me be your cautionary tale. What you answered with first when you said, I need to take more holidays, that's probably more true than you need to work harder. The thing is, when I define burnout, I didn't go into the very exact clinical definition, but burnout is a brutal beast. It comes in 3 stages. Because I'm a Christian also, I believe God gives us warnings. The first stage, I feel a bit, don't really like Sunday nights because I'm starting to think about Monday morning. Oh gosh, I'm so tired, I wish I could go on holiday. That's just a light warning. Take heed then. But if you don't, your body will move you to the next stage. And if you don't take heed, then you will end up at the stage where I was at. And when I said in the last panel, I think I said, I was at the stage where I believed in my bones that my children would be better off if only I had the courage to kill myself. I'm not joking when I say that. That is a horror to me now. But I thought, but with 3 times my salary, they'd be able to pay off the mortgage. They're young enough. They probably wouldn't remember me. I was cold and calculated because I kept thinking, I've just got to work harder. I've just got to be better. And so when I say you're a human first, you cannot outwork the need for rest or the need to ask help.
So, me, it actually started in 2017 when I went into 2016. In fact, I went into full-blown anxiety. I was going to work, like you said, before taking the bus, leaving my house. I was shaking at the door, crying. And I'm like, you know what? Just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go.
Push it down.
Push it down. You'll be fine.
Carry on.
You're the firstborn.
Yes.
Who knows? Firstborn trauma. Like you're the firstborn. You have to lead by example. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And then I was constantly tired to the point where no matter how much I slept, it wouldn't. And it got to a point where literally, for my own sanity, I walked away from my business for 2 years because I can't do this. I can't do this. So it will always be there what you want to achieve. And even if somebody does it in front of you, before you, you have your own secret sauce. Like no one will do it like you. So,
yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So I urge everyone to be very honest with themselves about the level of stress that they're carrying, because even if you think, but I just have to, because I'm first and I've got to, because I have to, blah, 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 you will never do it as well. Even if that's the only reason you stop, you will never do it as well as you could have done if you just allowed yourself to rest. Yeah. So, okay. I don't know how much time we've got left, Michael. 5 minutes. Okay. Let's wrap up. And I wanted to wrap up on a slightly more positive note, which was to ask each of you if you could share what resilience means. This is a word that people bounce around all the time. Oh, we've got to be resilient. But what does that actually mean to you?
I want to say comeback. I don't know why, but comeback springs to mind. And it just means that resilience to me, I feel like some people feel like it means that you never actually feel the pressure of maybe failing, going down a little bit, but it just means that you're able to overcome. And I think that's why I say comeback, because it's something that you've actually gone through. And I feel like sometimes people feel like even if they feel like they didn't overcome in the best way, then they weren't resilient. But I feel like even if you went through it and you got to the other side, I feel like that's, the comeback.
It's like that Nigerian expression, but did you die? It's true. But did you die? Or those of you who are of an age, do you remember the toy, the Weebles? I remember this. It was like a toy that was built with a bottom that meant it rocked, and the slogan was "Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down." And that's it. If you are still here because you didn't die, then you're resilient. It means you have survived. You have survived 100% of the things that have happened to you because you're here. Yeah, thank you. I like that.
For me, I think resilient means defying all odds. Very similar to what you said, because I genuinely think that the moment that you're born as a woman, especially a black woman, there's a lot of odds stacked against you. I've heard stories of people saying that, or I think I read the story on Twitter where a doctor came and said that a woman was, pregnant with twins, and he was about to, do the delivery, and he intentionally made sure that the male child came out first. Exactly. I mean, you're not even born yet, and you're already experiencing misogyny. You're thrown right into the deep end of patriarchy.
Which country was that?
I think it was Nigeria.
Well, okay. the Ghanaians, you can sit down.
You probably should have asked which country.
I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah.
I was hoping you were going to say, it's in London.
No. But there's already so many odds stacked against you. And then you have the effrontery to be black again, like, ooh, double trouble. But I think it just means coming out stronger. I know we've talked about burnout, and you can't really talk about burnout without talking about resilience, because I feel like they're follow comes one with the other. But I just like to stay on top, stay motivated, regardless of whatever it is I'm going through. It's just a phase. I can do this. There's times when I feel like I genuinely don't think I can complete this PhD. I think I had that thought this morning, actually, before coming here. I'm like, you know what? I should probably just quit. But it's just a phase. It would pass. I would come out stronger than this. I will finish. I would get to where I want to go to. And like you said, I'll definitely take more rest. Go on more holidays. I've gone on 5 this year, but I would go on more.
Exactly. I'm starting to wonder now. Maybe you just, if you didn't go on holiday, you could have finished your PhD. Okay. No. Safe space. Safe space. Come on. Yeah. You tell us about your 6th holiday this year. Come on.
Yeah, there's one coming up soon. Thank you.
You be proud of it.
Thank you. I will.
We're all just jealous. That's all.
Oh my God. Yeah, but that's it.
But it's important, actually, as much as we're all laughing, because we are all jealous. If you rest, then you don't have to quit. Rest so you don't have to quit. It's a good philosophy, I think, in life.
I would say resilience is going through a very hard, dark time, most impactful probably in your life, whatever that story is, and still being able to stand, even kneel, even lay, even be dragged through, but make it, and make it, and make it, and make it, in one piece. So, I just think that's it. And also, making sure through that impactful time and hard time that you keep a vision. So as long as you keep the vision, then you'll have a chance to move forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I love that. There are a couple of things. There are a couple of things actually that just came to mind as you just said that. And the first thing is this: when I think about resilience, I think that it's in my DNA. So I am the child of Windrush immigrants. And several years ago, myself and my family, Annette was talking earlier on about what's really important for the future self or for your past self. And it was take your children to the place of origin.
Yes, she did.
And I resonated so much with the story because when I was 19 years old, I went to Jamaica for the first time. And honestly, it was the most remarkable experience because I was born here. And it's really quite strange because it was the first time that I realized that I was growing up in a white majority space when I went to Jamaica. I was so socialized around that. It was my norm. And I saw black people in the bank. And I saw black people in government, and I saw black people reading the news, and I went, we are in positions of leadership. I can be in a position of leadership. This awareness came. But the story is essentially, when my husband's Ghanaian, and we went to Ghana several years ago, and we went to Amina Castle. And we looked through that portal, that last port that they would go through before they were taken onto these ships. And they had to be so thin, they must have been emaciated in order to get through that crack, to get onto that ship, to be then shipped out to the West Indies and so many other places. And what I realized as I stood at that port is that my actual ancestors, because I'm a child of Windrush immigrants, my actual ancestors went through that port.
Yes.
And they survived the ship, and then they were on that land, and they were picking crops for generations, and they withstood the whips, and they withstood the sun, and they were able then to travel through generations across the waves to the UK. And when they came to the UK, they saw also all sorts of signs on the door that said no coloureds and no dogs and no Irish, and they withstood that, and they were able to then bring my parents over, and then they were able to raise me to have opportunity. And when I see that, I see resilience, and it's in my DNA. Actually, it's who I am. It's who I am. It's my roots. But then I was also thinking about this, and it's that song, what do you do when you've done all you can and it seems like it's never enough? Well, you just stand. That's it.
Come on. And you sing. I mean, I think that was a mic drop right there. A mic drop. Honestly, thank you so much. If you take anything away from today, take this. We do not do this alone. None of us does this alone, right? So find your tribe.
Yes.
Tap into the community that exists, even if they tell you it doesn't, even if you can't see it because of being a token or a one of two or three. Find it. It exists even in this here Manchester. Connect and support each other and lift each other up, because that's the only way that we're going to be resilient till the end. Thank you so much for your attention today. Thank you.
Yes. So, last but not the least aspect of the event today, this is the moment we all have been waiting for. This is that touching moment. So I hope nobody's gonna cry, but yes, I'll let you take it away, Natasha. So, stage is yours for the next 10 minutes. Thank you.
Hello again, everyone. I was going to say save the best for last, but it's not the best. It's the most privileged to be the last, to be the best amongst the best. So we change it up a little bit. That's how I've been feeling. Yes, listening to everyone. Got it. So I didn't want to reveal some of the story that Michael wanted me to speak about, which hopefully is inspirational, my story, and hopefully it's empowering to you guys. So I am a stage 3 cancer survivor. That's where the story began. 11 years ago, thank God, I am free. 11 years free of cancer. I am so happy about that and being able to say that without the cancer coming back, because it was an aggressive cancer that could have come back in 5 years and so forth. And where did the story begin? Okay. So my mom was the first in the family to have cancer. She is 89 at this point. She's just made 89, so I stand in that shadow. However, the story is not so great for the rest of my family. So, mom first. My sister, mom's youngest sister, she was the second in the family. Then my sister and myself. When I say those 4, it's because they were before me and myself, and my sister and myself were fighting at the same time. So I was diagnosed stage 3. She was diagnosed stage 2. She's not here. I am. Also, we're at 22 now, being diagnosed, and only 5 of us have survived. I am the only first cousin in the number that has survived, and at present, we're dealing with one of my favorite cousins going through stage 4. So it's quite grim right now for her. While going through cancer, I saw many people in the hospital going through cancer by themselves. So I would ask the question, why are you here by yourself? Why are you going through this by yourself? While I was going through chemotherapy myself, I questioned it. I found so many people going through this cancer experience without support at the hospital. Now, I used to think that they didn't have any support, but they would be married, they can have children, they will have so many members in the family, but they are at chemotherapy by themselves. So that was questionable to me, because this is the place that you need the most support, right? When you're going through chemo, losing your hair, losing your nails, losing so much, losing weight, losing all kind of things, you're just in almost a deficit going through chemotherapy and being diagnosed with cancer. And being at a hospital, sitting through this by yourself is very questionable to me, because my concern is meeting people at their need. When we are, supporters and, we're fighting this crusade and we want to be impactful in our communities, it is about helping people at their need. So, I started to question it. I found older people that had lost their children, outlived their children. I found women that were diagnosed and their husband left them because they were diagnosed with cancer. I also found out about women and men going through violence from their partners whilst going through cancer. So I created something called the Bonded Through Cancer Buddy System, which supports cancer patients through their appointments. So my volunteers would meet you at the hospital, sit with you through your chemotherapy, make sure that you eat something nutritious, because I say the fight is cancer, but once you do accept and want to go through the route of chemotherapy, you are in a new fight. The cancer becomes secondary, and you have to fight your way through chemo. And how do you do that? You have to stay with nutrition going into your body, where a lot of the time while you are going through chemo, you do not want to eat. You have no appetite. There's an appetite loss and so many other side effects. So it's very, very, very imperative that I tell you to eat, even when you cannot eat. So I've had both of, not both, but I've had my breast removed. I've had a surgery, which is called a D-flap, which allows you to use your body to make your breast instead of implants and so forth. I wanted to just use me if I could, and that was what they were able to do for me. I've been through years of chemotherapy. I've been through years of other treatments, and I was over maybe 200 pounds. You know, different things are happening to your body while you're going through chemotherapy. However, the organization, as I said, is 11 years young. And that allowed me to be impactful in my community. I've had my charitable restaurants. I've had charity shops. We are opening a new shop in Camden right now in London. We do events. I do support groups. I was doing everything. So burnout happens, and I'm in a place where this year, from last year, I was on an accelerated program. So this is why I was really happy to be a part of this tech event, because after 11 years of running the organization from a community standpoint, being the help in the community on the ground. I love being on the ground because I believe when you're a CEO and you go too far up, you never know what's happening on ground zero, where you need to be. And that's what happens to a lot of CEOs. I've also sat on the board for Macmillan, the biggest charity in the UK, worked with the national lead and worked with all of the team Pan London. So, and I've worked with them for a very long time because being the biggest organization, some of their, the support they were saying was, or their stats were saying that they could not reach this hard to reach community, which is Black and Asian minority ethnic group. And I used to say, okay, use me as a tool. Without telling them that, I used to tell them or allow them to use me, right? And I didn't mind. The reason why, because I knew if I was in, then I can help my sisters and my brothers right through the door and get the support, because we get the most aggressive cancers. Yeah, there's a cancer that attacks Black women, and it's not found anywhere else, and they don't know how to handle that. I've just had a friend pass away from triple negative breast cancer. There's so many cancers that we end up being, you know, the last on the list. But there's a few things with us as Black people, Black and brown. We do not fill out surveys. We do not do trials. We are the last on the list for so many things as to why we don't get help. So I know that there's a lack of support, but there's some things that I like to tell everyone we do not do. Our white counterparts, they do. They do the surveys. They're at the events. They are campaigning. They are doing many things. But us as Black people, we are the last and we are the least. So we have to do some more of, you know, trials and, you know, and getting to know what's going on in our Black communities around cancer, because it is eating us alive. Anyway, so again, from 11 years being in the community, I am so happy that I've had the burnout, and I do have rest in this 2025. I was on an accelerated program that was delivered by the government and London partners, Med City, so many stakeholders, so many people involved. And it was a very hard accelerated to get on. Over 300 to 400 people applied for 21 places, and I made it, right? Why I say that? It allowed me to innovate after 11 years. And you spoke about feeling earlier. I'm not sure who was speaking about it, but the reason why I never went into tech is because my organization is off of a feeling, and the feeling to be at a hospital appointment with a cancer patient, right? Be there, not be on a phone or away. be there with the cancer patient, because I know firsthand how it felt when I had nobody, when I couldn't eat. You know, people start to think that the medical system just flies in and you have all this support. No, I had a 3-year-old baby at that time. There was no support. There was no one helping me except one friend that allowed me to create the buddy system. She made food for me when I couldn't get up and eat. I couldn't cook. I couldn't walk. I had surgeries. The surgery for my breast was from my waist, right? It also spread, so I had cancer in my underarms. So I had no use of my arm. I had no use of legs. And I'm also going through chemotherapy that makes you very sick. How do you get through that? How? So I will tell everyone here that's left, please make sure when someone's going through something, do not say to them, call me if you need me. Everyone says it. Call me if you need me. When you're going through something that is life-changing or can take your life, you're not thinking about who you can call. You need people to just call you, right? So as I said, we are stepping into tech. As I didn't want to, because I felt many people would be left behind, especially the elderly. So now, the tech that I've created is my buddy system. But it's a virtual buddy system. It's called the Virtual Buddies for Bonded Through Cancer. It's through a person. It is the first of its kind. We are using AI. We integrate in AI and for dialects and other barriers. It also gives you the freedom of choice for a buddy to support you through your cancer journey. You can be anywhere in the world and be a Bonded Through Cancer buddy, where you log in or the cancer patient logs in, and they are allowed to choose someone for the first time. Because just like going to the doctor, you call the doctor and you get this doctor and that doctor, and you end up telling your story 1,000 million times. When you're going through cancer, you are not prepared. You don't even have the mindset to tell this story over and over again for support. So you'll be able to log into our portal. You'll be able to choose, even if you are LGBTQ, if you are Muslim, you may want a Muslim sister to support you on the journey. You may want someone that is gay to support you on the journey. You may want someone of your age range from whichever country. It's the first of its kind. I'm so happy about this. It's a big deal, very big deal to me, because 11 years I've sat in the community. Now we're going to be able to impact the UK and hopefully the entire world. That is my goal. However, not burning out and doing it remotely, running, support groups and so forth remotely. So we are raising funds. Look out for us. If you ever come down to London, please come down to my shop. We just got a tenancy, and we will be raising funds. We have a sponsor with a vending machine, a perfume vending machine that will allow people to come in, patronize our shop, and have a little spray of a luxury perfume and be able to fundraise, which is for the prototype of our new portal. So this is where I am, guys. I didn't want it to be too much of a somber story in terms of going through cancer, all of my family members, and we still have, a good side to this. I've made it. I thank God I've made it. I'm so happy to be the CEO of my organization and also show the world that we are going to be really, really big. Really, really big. Bigger than we ever have been, and not burn out. Not burn out. So thank you. Thank you so much. That's me. God bless everyone. No tissue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How did you do that? Thank you for keeping the tears dry. Thank you. So, thank you, everybody. All I can say is thank you. It's been an awesome day. Very, very emotional conversation, thought-provoking conversations, very, very honest truth has been spoken on this stage today, and I think that's fantastic, and that just shows that something is happening in Manchester, and Manchester is getting ready to face the globe. And right now, all I just want to do is say thank you to Ngozi Wella, my sister, my sister, my sister. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Thank you, Natasha. Rose, we have to catch up. You told me I am not escaping that. Thank you very much, all the way from London. I cannot thank you enough. Yes, and I know we've got hard talk. Thank you very much, Chanel Harmony. Thank you for coming. Thank you, um, everybody here. Thank you, Ola. Thank you, all the audience. Thank you, Lloyd, for the equipment and making sure we still manage to catch up with time, even though we had a little bit of a tech glitch this morning. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for everybody who assisted us, and Wayne at the back, thank you very much for your support. Caroline, Vanessa, Natasha, everybody. I mean, Annette, thank you very much. Those I cannot remember their name right now. Thank you so much. Heather Walters from GM Business Growth Hub, thank you very much. Bruntwood SciTech, thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much. And Gideon, thank you for support as well. After I met you at the Pro Manchester, you were awesome. And thank you guys. Thank you, Ngozi, for putting together Reg Connect at the Pro Manchester. That was an awesome event. So thank you, everybody. It's been a great day. And I just want to say thank you and God bless.